Hey kids, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very important. Yesterday was the start of the 12th annual Bob, Glennon, Twilight meet here by the MSTCA. And I think it's important, kids, you got to know who Bob Glennon is. And fortunate for me, I am with the legend. So we're going to do a little course preview, and I'm going to get to pick Bob's brain. So, Bob, let's first start. You started coaching what year?
1964.
1964.
Yes.
Where was that at?
At Don Bosco High School. I coached there for 2.5 years, and then went on to coach at Zavarian from 1968 to 1975. Then I had to take a leave of absence, give up coaching because I became an administrator in the Boston Public Schools. And I did so for the next couple of years, and it became, ran into a situation where I had to go back teaching in the classroom. Ended up going over to Newton North High School and coached from 1976, 77 up to 1989. At the end of that year, I decided to give up coaching, but I spent the next 10 years officiating. I retired as an administrator from the Boston Public Schools in 1999, and spent the fall of that year doing some repairs to my house. I was making a move, but I spent that fall year coaching freshmen cross country at Zavarian Brothers High School. Winter came along, I moved to the Cape and coached for the next 5 years at Mashpee High School. And finally in 2004, I decided to take life a little easy and spend 6 months in Florida and 6 months in Massachusetts. Haven't given up track in a sense because I help out, officiate, been involved in MSTCA activities over the years, and continue to do so.
So yeah, I want to start with that. So you balance the act of academic, educator, father as well, husband.
Yeah.
And how important was it for you and Frank Mooney back then? Because I don't think this generation understands the limited opportunities were provided for kids in the Commonwealth to compete. Why did you and Frank and your peers back then do what you needed to do?
Well, when I first started coaching, I had a mentor by the name of Fred Gillis, who used to be the coach at Boston English High School. He was a state meet director, and we became friends. He got me involved in the Mass State Track Coaches Association, and I quickly became nominated as a secretary-treasurer. Spent a couple of years doing that, and we had a group of guys that just had some foresight to try to enrich the activities for the youth in Massachusetts through track and field. We also got involved. For the first 10 years, I ran the coaches clinic that they now have. Has been going on since then. We started the relays indoors and went to outdoors. Started the individual boys and girls championships in the springtime. The first 2 years actually the big schools were held in Brockton, and great coach Harry Allen, and I coached at Zavarian. We had the first 2 outdoor small school championships for boys and girls. Been a long career, a lot of activities.
A lot of activities. So, your thoughts on the board? The board has grown since you have started, and I feel like they're upholding the mission and the values that you once and your peers put forth. What is your thoughts on the growth of our board, the MSTCA here?
Well, looking at the meet last night here at the fairgrounds, I just stood back and thought how we started this meet out 12 years ago. We had the idea that we could run a Twilight meet here. Frank Mooney liked the idea of a Twilight meet. I suggested the fairgrounds. We got together, talked to the fairgrounds people. And the first year we had the meet, we had 800 athletes running.
Wow, 800 athletes.
800.
Yesterday we had almost 3,000.
That's right.
Wow.
That's absolutely unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I just kind of took a moment out. I took a lap around the course on the cart here. And,
Yep.
when I got back, I just stood there and I looked at the parents and the kids, and I just had a smile on my face about how wonderful it was to have done something that makes so many people happy. It's really heartwarming. This would not happen without all of the folks in the Coaches Association putting the effort into to make it grow and be such an attractive site. It's unbelievable. It just warms my heart.
So, before someone inspired you, you mentioned his name.
Fred Gillis. It was the beginning.
Were you an athlete?
Yes, I ran at Rosendale High School.
Wow. So kids, I'm sorry, context. That place does not exist anymore.
No, it does not.
There used to be a Jamaica Plain High School with now Boston English, but there is no Rosendale High School in the city of Boston.
It actually became West Roxbury High School many years later, and I taught there for 2 years
Wow.
when it first opened in 1975.
Wow.
Yeah.
So coach, my first start as a head coach was at West Roxbury.
Really?
I'm the last coach before they closed West Roxbury down. So it's bittersweet to me.
And who was the headmaster then? Mr. Pellegrini?
No, I had Rudy Weeks.
Oh, okay.
I had Rudolph
yeah,
Weeks.
I remember him. Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you started at Rosendale High School.
14 years old, running in high school. Yeah.
And so you would run in what today was CMI, so some of the kids ran loops around Franklin Park, George White Stadium.
Yeah, I practiced George White Stadium every day in my sophomore year in cross country. Ran mostly with the kids from English High School because I was, I think, the only athlete from Rosendale. Everybody else played football. And the next year, as a junior, I played football.
Oh, wow. What events did you run?
I ran the 600, half mile. I did all right.
But help me understand, Coach. Football player running miles? How'd that happen?
I just, the gang. All
Yeah.
my buddies play football. I had to play football.
Yeah, I understand. We
Peer
understand.
pressure.
The peer pressure. I was going to say that.
Peer pressure.
The peer pressure.
And it was lonely going to White Stadium all by myself, even though all my friends at English High School were there. The peer pressure in the neighborhood, the idea was to play football. So I did.
Mr. Glennon, what would you say to there's young athletes here that love the sport and one day they're going to be coaches? And they want to give back to their schools. Why should they join the MSTCA?
There's a dire need for coaches, period. Unfortunately, education has put a lot of strain on teachers to get additional credits, go on and get a master's degree, not have the time after school to spend coaching. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing some young athlete, or young individual just become an athlete, and to fall in love with the sport, to learn to self-improve, to have some value about things you're doing. And coaching is it's very rewarding. You don't have to win. You just have to go out there and help young people learn how to do things.
If you do win, it's a good thing.
It helps. It helps.
It helps the culture.
I think if you're a good coach, you can win. But you have to have the athletes. You have to have a school that's interested in athletic programs. I've been through both sides where some people have cared and some haven't. You've got to have, the coach has to have the backing of the school and the administration, and you've got to have the athletes. And it varies. Some years you get athletes that just come out of nowhere and make the team for you.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to work at it, and you can't succeed unless you work.
So, kids, Mr. Glennon is giving us some context because, as you know, he's worked in the Catholic schools, Don Bosco Zavarian. He's worked at Newton North, so he has parity. He's seen it. The importance of a good coach, great coach. And as we speak about Newton North, when I started coaching, the famous Jim Blackburn, rest in peace, was still here.
Yep.
Did Jim succeed when you stopped?
When I retired, I picked up the phone and called Jim. The first person I called and told him I was retiring because I knew he was a quality coach. He was a great guy. We used to run together. We were friends, and I couldn't think of no better person to nominate for the job. You'll have to excuse me. It's a little, this touches home because we were friends for 25 years while he was at Newton. We were friends much before that. And, before he passed away, we spent a lot of time together.
Yep. I thank you for being it's the human experience. I didn't know Mr. Blackburn personally, but I see his effect on Coach Wallace.
Yep.
Alex is my peer.
Yep.
Alex is an amazing coach, and I saw the loss in the Newton community, but I also saw how good of a coach he was.
He's outstanding.
Yes, one of the best to ever do it.
Great person.
Yeah, rest in peace, Coach Blackburn.
Yeah.
So like kids, you have to understand something. Your coaches, they've been dedicated to the craft 50, 60 years?
Yeah, 60 years now.
60 years to the craft. So when you see our officials, some of the officials that you will see in the Reggie Lewis, some of you will see in the outdoor meets, they're actually some of the greatest coaches to ever do it. So when he or she is giving you counsel or advice or guidance, take heed. You don't know how many champions that these people have made. So kids, we see these people in that yellow and green jacket, they still love the sport. And some of them are some of the best coaches ever. So please, respect the officials. A lot of things are shaping up now. Let's talk currently. Your son, how many children do you have?
I have 4 children.
4 children. What number is Coach?
Michael, my coach, my son, coach of the Brookline, is my number 1.
He's the first.
He's the first. He was firstborn.
Firstborn. Wow.
I have a daughter who is the third born. She's out in Utah. And my other son lives in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
They participate in athletics when they were in high school. None of them are the other 2 are not involved in coaching as such. My daughter in Utah has 2 teenage children who are attending high school and involved in sports as well. And
the grandchildren.
Yeah.
All right.
And of course, Michael, the oldest, is coaching at Brookline.
Yep.
He has a son, a grandson, who
was an athlete.
He's an athlete. He was a very outstanding long jumper at Needham High School.
Yep.
Who, when he graduated from college, spent the past 2 years as an assistant to his father. And of course, my son has done very well at Brookline.
Yep.
And
very well.
I used to drag him to track meets at Zavarian when he was a little kid, and kind of the bite just took over.
Fair to say.
Fell in love with the sport.
Fair to say. And now I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that team is going to the national meet. And it might be one of the best teams we've ever seen in the last 30, 40 years in Massachusetts. They're the real deal. Real deal. Yeah, no, Coach, I just think it was important. I know that a lot of the kids on social media, and like they may see the name, it's the Twilight meet, and they see. So I had to ask Jason. I said, Jason, how many years was it Twilight? He said, this is the 12th year. Because I'm entering year 9 for me, coaching. So I know that for me, coming from Boston Public Schools, it's a great experience for our kids to come up here and we get to run, especially when it's come sundown, the energy, the adrenaline, it's electric, and kids get to see some serious races fast times. And I feel it's also, Twilight, for me as a coach, younger coach, it like marks postseason. Like in the next month, we're about to have the state game. It's coming up. So the action is about to happen, like the real, what matters is now. It's not how fast you run in September and October, as you know, Coach.
Yep.
It's moving forward. Moving forward. What could you want to say to the next future generation of athletes? What does it take from them to be successful?
I think if you're going to get yourself involved in a sport, no matter what it is, that you have a passion for it, that if you're going to play a sport, that you take it seriously, that you're just not there to hang out or put a uniform on and play around. You should really have a desire to be the best you can.
Yep.
Don't make excuses for yourself.
Yep.
Remember that the only way you're going to succeed is to work hard.
Yep.
You just can't go out and put a uniform on and expect to be a champion. It takes a lot of work. I found it as I got older and with all the coaching, I had to kind of do some running myself. And when I had a girls team at Newton North, I had to actually go out and run the roads with them.
Doing that now. Trust. I know that's right. Wow. You're getting me fit too.
Yeah, it got me fit. I ended up running 5 Boston marathons because of it. And over the age of 40 at the time, as a senior, as a master, I had some goals to accomplish. Didn't make them. It didn't make them all. Did well, but when you're an administrator and a coach and have a family,
husband, father, yeah, it's a lot.
I had a lot. I didn't have the commitment to be a super master.
I know.
But it taught me that if I was teaching other people to do well, that I had to tell them from experience that if you really, really want to do well, you're really, really going to put 100% into it. Academically, you've got to hit the books. If you want to go someplace, that's what's going to count sooner or later. Being an athlete, it's a wonderful experience. The percentage that go on to be pros is extremely small. So you really need education, number one. Athletics teaches you to train yourself, to follow a routine. You carry that over into your academic career. You work hard, succeed. Life's going to be good. And now that I'm in my 80s, I feel like I've done a pretty decent job.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not done yet.
You're not done yet. Well, Mr. Glennon, thank you for sharing. I had struggled. I'm 44 now, and I was struggling just trying to get in shape. And I'm actually running my first half. November, the day after the divisionals. I'm running it November 13th, my first half, and I'm 44 years old. And I wasn't taking care of my body.
Yeah.
I get to 6-7 miles and I start falling apart. So I've actually made a commitment, made a dedication. First big step, you said goals. My first goal is to be able to run 10 miles. I got to be able to run 10 miles before November 12th anyways. But that's the goal. I'm going to get a 10-mile in the next 2-3 weeks. Then I'm going to be able to run that BAA half.
I'll give you a good one. You're 44?
I'm 44.
I ran 45 miles on my 45th birthday.
Oh, man.
There's a goal for you.
Oh, man. See?
You can do whatever you want.
Oh, man. So you did set the tone. You just raised the bar. Oh, man.
Yeah, there you go.
I wasn't even ready for
Sorry.
that. Just do that. Jesus. 45?
You asked for it.
Yeah, I did. I know. Oh, man.
That's why I'm having a hip replacement in a couple of weeks.
Because of that 45. See, that's what I'm afraid of.
But
that's what I'm afraid of right there.
That's okay. Goes with the age.
It does. It does. But Coach, thank you for sharing and thank you for reflecting. Hopefully, this will be posted. We're going to post this on MSTCA in that other kids and adults and coaches can see this. Hopefully they're inspired and that they continue. You're my age, a younger coach, 44, 30. It's these men and women and their dedication are the reason why we have opportunities for our kids to compete here in Massachusetts. So, Mr. Glennon, I want to say thank you on behalf of the board and any other kid, especially the city kids, because I didn't realize how much, that you've done for the city of Boston. Me being a Bostonian, I work for the city. I'm the benefit manager at the BTU, so I take care of all the teachers, dental and vision benefit, and I coach. So, everything I do is to make sure the teachers are right, and then when I coach, I'll make sure that the city kids are right. So, everything's for the city for me.
Yep.
And get to hearing you speak and hearing your journey inspires me. So I say thank you again for being an amazing leader, husband, father. And we're going to have a good one tonight.
Thank you.
Ladies and
Appreciate
gentlemen,
it.
the legend. This is why you're here, because guys like this. So when you see, remember the face, when you see him in the Reggie Lewis, I'm going to ask you kindly, shake his hand, say thank you, man. Thank you for what you've done. Because kids, girls, there wasn't many opportunities. There was no freshman, sophomore meet if guys like this weren't thinking, hey, let's put a race together where all the best underclassmen can run. That did not exist if men like this didn't think out the box. So once again, thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.